Morning. Anambra Education Commissioner Professor Chumo Ode calls for empowerment of inmates of correctional centers with education for a better lifestyle. More local government councils embark on the silting of drainages. Federal government calls for global best practices in maritime services. And from the foreign scene, Taliban forces kill 6 members of ISIL armed group in Afghanistan. Before the news in detail, here's a special message. Governor Chukwuma Soludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of the Anambra State economy and promotion of core Igbo valleys. Let us give him maximum support for the task ahead. Good morning and welcome to the news. My name is Uchechukwu Ebunam. The Commissioner for Education, Professor Ngozi Chumude, has pledged support for the establishment of schools in a correctional center. The Commissioner gave the support while welcoming the new head of Onitsha Correctional Center, Deputy Controller Michael Anugwa, who was on a courtesy to the ministry at Udodi Secretariat Complex. Oka, we have details.
Ude commended the Deputy Controller for the wonderful initiatives taking place at the center. She noted that if the people coming into the center left the way they were when they came in, society could suffer the consequences, and explained that establishing a school is a wonderful initiative that offers the inmates opportunities of living a better life when released into the society. Professor Ngozi Chumude said she believes so much in the power of education as it brings enlightenment, hence her strong support and maximum cooperation. Earlier in his speech, the new head of Onitsha Correction Center, Deputy Controller Michael Anugwa, said that a major challenge he faced on the assumption of duty was inheriting a correctional center that was not in tune with modern correctional facilities. He said he was faced with a correctional center devoid of proper educational facilities and conducive atmosphere for learning, adding that this went contrary to the new law governing correctional centers, as the center has the responsibility of recreating the inmates, rid them of those vices that made them come to the correctional facilities, so that when they live as good citizens. Deputy Controller Anugwa opined that education and skills acquisition are strong factors in the rehabilitation process, pointing out that one factor that makes former inmates reoffend is a lack of education or skills that will help earn a livelihood. The new head called on the ministry for help in ameliorating the lack of enough teachers at the center.
To ensure enduring inclusive voter participation, the Anambra State chapter of the Joint National Association of Persons with Disability, JONAPAD, has called on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to address challenges reported by its members while participating in the just concluded 2023 general and state elections. Correspondent Joseph Ebocha tells us more.
Challenges, according to a statement by the state chairman of the association, Comrade Ugochukwu Okeke, and the state publicity secretary, Comrade Chidimma Ajemba, included lack of accessibility to some facilities where polling units are located by the physically challenged persons, especially wheelchair users, lack of sign language interpreters for the deaf voters, and unavailability of EC40H and EC30E forms. Others were unavailability of Braille ballot papers for the visually impaired voters, unavailability of magnifying glasses for persons with albinism, and lack of cooperation by some INEC ad hoc staff. The association explained that aside marrying efforts and ensuring enduring inclusive voter participation, the challenges mentioned can lead to voter apathy if not followed up by appropriate remedial actions. JONAPAD, however, commended INEC for fulfilling its earlier promises of ensuring that no person with disability was disenfranchised and priority attention to its members during the exercise, adding that it developed an online data collection platform where its members were encouraged to report their experiences and through which it ascertained the level of participation by members as well as gauged the level of commitment by INEC at ensuring an inclusive voter participation. On Governor Soludo's 1 year in office, Jonapid observed that there are conscious efforts to make Anambra livable and prosperous, as well as leave a legacy of good governance. It appreciated Governor Soludo for employment of some persons with disabilities in the last employment exercise and expresses hope for more accessible and inclusive programs and activities of the Soludo administration that will benefit the Anambra in general and people with disabilities in particular.
Ndiwo in Lagos State have received commendations for their decision to commence relocation of some of their key businesses to Southeast states. Speaking in Oka, the Vice President of Ohaneze Ndiwo Worldwide, Chief Damien Okeko-Ogene, said the move is a good response to the incessant call of the state government and Ohaneze Ndiwo to Anambra living outside the state to embrace the think home philosophy to protect their future. We have details.
Okeke-Ogene said the decision is very timely and should be emulated by Ndibo living in other parts of the country to reduce the burden of loss suffered through targeted attacks in some parts of the country. He noted that Southeast states have strategic and viable markets that can attract patronage from various parts of the world and contribute in scaling up development of the region. He expressed satisfaction that the recent bills signed by President Muhammadu Buhari have invested more powers on states on infrastructural development and stressed the need for quality routes on interconnecting states in the southeast, international airports, railways, and seaports to facilitate the expected high volume of trade and commerce, while advocating strong partnership between government and the private sector on infrastructural development. Chief Okeke-Ogene noted that with adequate power supply, the zone has the needed manpower to effectively drive business and accelerate industrial development.
In furtherance to the ongoing campaign for a clean, green and sustainable Anambra State, the Transition Committee Chairman of Oka South Local Government Area, Mr. Thangoda Nago, has inaugurated an exercise of the silting of drainages within the local government area. ABS correspondent on environment, Blessing Uchendo, reports.
The exercise, which went on simultaneously in Oka Metropolis, was led by the chairman, members of the committee, and personnel of the local government council, among others. Speaking during the exercise, Mr. Nago called on residents of Oka South local government area to partner the government on environmental sustainability agenda by being environment friendly, including planting of trees, proper waste disposal, and effective flood control system.
That cleanliness is next to godliness. We don't need to be compelled to clean our environment, to get out of sicknesses. It's only a fool that will wait until he sees dates. I've told them already from orientation, you don't need to put these things near your gutter. You don't need to dump anything inside the gutter. We have a system of evacuating refugees in urban areas. I've told them we have the bags, put in these bags. The bags can stay in the house for about 1 week. Then a vehicle comes every day. We pick this place and go away. Then dump it in the gutter. And it's a rainy season coming in. It's too difficult for us to manage.
He noted that having clean water channels is key to achieving a sustainable environment, as flood will be controlled easily, even as he assured that the local government will always be available to evacuate waste on the roads and streets, and called on the residents to desilt drainages in front of their houses, shops, churches and offices to avoid being penalized. Mr. Nago and his team during the exercise sensitized residents on what is expected of them with regards to keeping their environments clean.
Today will be a desilting drainages clearing for Oka South and Anambra as a whole. We want to start imbibing with the tenets of what the government himself called the green and sustainable environment, where people should be livable for people, so that we will live without fears, we live without sicknesses. That's what we are doing today. So we are doing deserting. We are flagging off deserting on Oka that should be continuous after today. We want to desert every drainage in Oka and clear all the gutters to make Oka free from diseases.
In Oka, Blessing Uchendo, ABS News.
The Bureau of Public Service Reforms has urged the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency to enhance safe, secure shipping, cleaner oceans and maritime capacity in line with best global practices. The BPSR also said that Nemasa has been promoted to the silver level after scoring 74% in performance. According to a statement by the BPSR, this was announced in a summary report on the deployment of the BPSR self-assessment tool presented to the management of Nemasa by the Director General of BPSR, Mr. Arabi Dasuki. The statement further said that Nemasa had also been promoted to level 2, which implied that the agency's performance met expectations in essential areas of responsibility, resulting in an overall quality of work that was generally good, with the most critical organizational goals met. BPSR BUS appreciated the Director General of Nemasa, Dr. Bashir Jamal, for his exemplary leadership and strong desire for optimal performance and reform to ensure Nemasa's systems and operations remain strong. On business, the Executive Vice Chairman, Nigerian Communications Commission, Professor Umar Dambata, has said that for Nigeria to win the fight against insecurity, external aggression and other threats to national peace, it must ensure a high level of electronic combat readiness. Speaking with officer cadets of the Nigerian Defense Academy visited NCC headquarters in Abuja as part of the industrial training, Dambata noted that communications is strategic to electronic combat readiness, adding that without communication, they cannot give others to the men of the Air Force. According to him, modern warfare is not won by physical combat anymore, but in the command and control centers, where electronic combat readiness strategy is implemented by locating where the enemy is and giving instructions to the Air Force to contain the threat posed by the enemy. Dambata observed cyber attacks as a trending threat, appealed to the military to assist the country to contain the threats posed by cyber criminals, noting that this visit was in line with the NCC Strategic Visions Plan 2023 to 2025. He urged the cadets to do everything possible to justify the confidence reposed in them. From the foreign scenes, the Taliban forces have killed 6 members of the ISIL armed group, ISIS, in Afghanistan's northern Balkhish province during an overnight raid, a Taliban spokesman said. The raid comes as the Taliban rulers cracked down on a regional affiliate of the ISIL group known as Islamic State in Khorasan province, which has carried out several deadly attacks in recent months, killing dozens, including Balkh Governor Mohammed Dawood Mazumil last month. According to Mohammed Asif Waziri, a spokesman for the police chief in Balkh, the operation targeted an ISIL hideout in Nari Sahih district. 6 members of the armed group were killed, he added. Mazumal was known for his resistance to ISIL in the area. The group has emerged as the biggest security threat to the Taliban, which took over Afghanistan in August 2021 after US-led foreign forces withdrew their 20 years of war. The ISIL group has also claimed other recent attacks in Kabul, including the bombing near a checkpoint at the city's military airport that killed and wounded several people, and also as assaults at a Kabul hotel in mid-December. ISIL attacks in Afghanistan has often targeted the minority Shia communities as well as foreigners and foreign interests. From the world of sports, the inspectors appointed by the Confederation of African Football are checking out the stadia and related facilities that Nigeria has put forward in a joint bid with the Benin Republic to host the 35th edition of the African Cup of Nations in the year 2025. On the cards for evaluation are the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja, Godswill Akpabio Stadium, Uyo, Stephen Keshi Stadium, Asaba, Teslim Balogun Stadium, Lagos, Samuel Egbimu Dia Stadium, Benin City, and Ahmadu Bello Stadium, Kaduna. Already, the foreman team of Jane Louise Roman, Emma Bollet, Didier Levy, and Timur Taufik, accompanied by a couple of Nigerian football officials, has assessed the Moshood Abiola National Stadium in the nation's capital, Teslim Balogun Stadium in Lagos, Stephen Keshi Stadium in Asaba, and the Samuel Igbemodia Stadium in Benin City. Remember to follow us on the news and program from ABS many parts of the world by liking our Facebook page at ABS Radio Television. Go on to follow us on our YouTube channel at ABS Television, Oka. You can also join us on Instagram at ABS Radio TV. Log on to our website at www.absradiotv.com. And now the main points that made the news again this morning. Anambra Education Commissioner Professor Chuma Ode has called for empowerment of inmates of correctional centers with education for better life. More local government councils have embarked on the silting of drainages. Federal government has called for global best practices in maritime services. And finally, from the foreign scene, we told you that Taliban forces has killed 6 members of ISIL armed group in Afghanistan. Governor Chuguma Soludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of the Anambra State economy and promotion of core Igbo values. Let's give him maximum support for the task ahead. That's all of the news this morning. My name is Uche Chukwu Ibanam. Be good.